Welcome everybody to this week's Premier League preview. Lots to talk about. I think today we're going to cover a few topics and looking at Liverpool's woes as well. So lots to discuss. So let's not hold back. Let's jump right in. Fair enough. Fair enough.
After the international breaks.
Okay. Speaking of a catastrophe, let's move on to Liverpool. How do you feel, Preen?
Oh,
Right, fuck me.
just disappointed, especially in the last game. That is very disappointing. That is very bad. Like normally, I'm positive about the team because you can see chances created and the gentle fight,
What
the
chances?
system. I said generally, not the last game, but the last game there was no. The system completely is broken. There's look completely lost and devoid of ideas.
Tired.
There's no technical players that can hold the ball, but that I wanted from years. There's no technical players that can hold the ball. That is a big problem. And if Virgil has a bad game, then we don't get saved with our high line. That's just what's happening. We don't get saved with our high line. They're walking through the midfield, walking through the team, and that's not good. But I think that was the lowest you could get this season. And let's see if we can go back to our pressing counter pressing ways. Our counter attacks, we never hit one in a long time, a proper counter attack.
If you can have the players in that position to counter attack, our problem is we relied, or fair enough, people say we had 8 midfielders, 7 midfielders, whatever, but we didn't expect them to get injured. It's the same thing with the defense 2 years back. But Klopp as a manager, let's face it, people who's up there, we're waiting for this Bellingham. He wants the certain player he wants. It's not only Bellingham which he's targeting. He's targeting another 2 more midfielders, according to.
The time for targeting is over now. We got our team.
No.
This is the team we have.
Midfielders, and he says that he wants it next. But he probably knew. The fact of the matter, Klopp knew that he could not rely on Nabil Keita. He could not rely on Oxlade-Chamberlain. He cannot rely. You can rely on Milner, but Milner is too old. He's past that age. He's not allowed to play 2 games a week. He cannot play 2 games a week. He's horrible.
He shouldn't be allowed to play 1 game a week.
And the fact is, for Klopp to come out and say we need to reinvent ourselves, knowing that he hasn't got the players are out for a while, it goes to show that he knew within the 3rd or 4th game, any good coach will know that his side is physically not and mentally right now not in the same frame like last season, especially one person who's getting too comfortable there and needs to be dropped, and he needs to actually show him a point by dropping him, is Trent Alexander-Arnold. He needs to be dropped until that Lighty comes up, or even that. That's why yesterday I was telling Kantan that I was actually surprised. They're doing that open session, and I saw that Lighty from who we played in the preseason was actually in the training squad. I honestly think Trent is going to be dropped for today's match, with that Lighty taking his place.
So if he's under 19 boy, then he played just now.
He played during our preseasons.
So you all think of Trent and you're all complaining because you all think shit is. So he's a shit defender, right? I think the first thing you have to realize is he's not there to defend. I can tell you this much: he's not there to defend. You look at the stats, and you look at the chances he creates, the quality of his delivery into the box. Any striker worth, and I know that red card from Nunez sort of derailed you guys a little bit, but he will be supreme.
Standing against Napoli.
I know. I watch. So one of the other things, right? And I don't know. I know you guys probably know more inside talk, than I would. Once you break wage structure, it becomes fucking difficult for the oak that's getting paid the most, and everybody else is not getting paid the most, right? There's a reason why there's a wage structure, is that everybody's considered equal and the team's like that. I watched the walking that you're talking about. It was the goal against Napoli between him and Van Dijk. I mean, there's like you look at it
Not
and
the
you
first time.
jeez.
It's
I
not the
mean,
first
what are you oaks on about? I mean, like you as a defender, was very very reluctant. I'm not sure how the psychology of getting paid less than everybody else works, or I'm not sure if it's even a factor, whether they spoke to the entire team, but it seems there's no hunger and desire and sort of team spirit, right? Because how can something work for 4, 5 years, 6 years? How long now? You guys have been dominating for a while, right? Well, not to the extent of Bar City, but your Oaks have been playing well for the last 5, 6 years. How does all of that get undone with 1 or 2 players? I don't think so. I think it's desire. I think it's probably more mental than anything else. Every one of those players is technically brilliant. And TAA, as much as he can't defend, those stats are unreal. You must see and he passes the eye test as well, right? You watch him play and you think, shit. I mean, if he had just, if he was a winger producing that, he'll get 10 out of 10 every match. The reason why he gets criticized so much is because going the other way, he does get caught out.
So is it salvageable then? Do we need to reinvent?
I
I don't
honestly
think
think
so.
so.
It doesn't mean
Uh,
nothing.
uh,
Reinvent doesn't mean anything. Just get results
Yeah.
for now, and everything will come right.
You know what? Another person who needs to be dropped is Salah. Those two people need to be dropped. And that's the bottom line. Yeah, I understand your wage structure.
You can
Wage
drop
structure.
Salah,
After
but
this
you
wage
can't drop
structure,
Trent.
after Salah signed his wage agreement, but let's face it, Salah has been shit for the last 10 games last season. And he started off with the first 7 games now. He's not the Salah, but the thing what Salah does, Salah always comes up with a goal here and there. He came up already this season. How many goals? He scored 3 goals or whatever, even having the shittiest run of form.
Does he have 3 goals?
2 goals, I think.
2 or 3? 3. He scored only
He's got
2
3 goals.
United and
Fulham.
2 goals.
Yeah.
Where's
2
the second?
goals.
Where's the third one?
There's no third one. Sorry, my mistake.
It's 2. Yeah.
Only 2. But the fact of the matter is, he's been, after he signed it, I hope he just doesn't end up like a Ozil and a Aubameyang and fucking trying to get rid of him after that.
It's like you think you're doing the right thing and you end up in the worst position. So sorry, that was costing you less money. It's costing you more money now in a worse position. So yeah, there is a thing, right? So I think Thugs is spot on. How do we have 3 examples of that? Ozil, Aubameyang, and Salah. The same wages, by the way, 350, right? Is it 350 or 400 for you guys?
350.
Right? Sorry, we can add Pogba to that list, right?
No, you can add even De Gea to that list.
You have De Gea to that. So it does become a thing. I don't know. It does become a thing. I don't know if it's psychological and they think they've,
Maybe the
but I don't know.
350 is just a bad luck. Once it's 350,
350 plus 1.
Yeah.
350 plus 1.
Plus
Pull
one,
a
eh?
finger.
It's
Pull a
Suarez.
finger. Yeah, no. Pull a finger Suarez deal.
The only player I see went up to 350. What's his wage? 350 or 400? Was Kevin De Bruyne, and he just vied like automatically high.
Nah, but
He's been consistently good for a long time. So
Yeah, I know.
Quality.
But also he plays in that system that, and I mean, with Holland there now, geez, it's like I'll just pop it into the box and I'm sure he'll get there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that there's been a player that's taken to the Premier League this quickly from recent memory. I'm trying to think who else just took to the league.
Almost all players that
Suarez.
come to the Premier League are not from the Premier League.
Torres. Suarez,
And almost all of them do well.
who's the spree?
I said almost all players that come from that play in the Premier League
Outside
the Premier League,
Yeah,
they're all
they
foreigners,
do well.
and they all do well. I don't know what's the thing that people say they take long.
If you're
Yeah.
good player,
Like
you
one
adapt
game.
very well.
That's a good point.
And I don't care
That's
what
a good
people
Suarez is
say.
excellent from the beginning. Chora is excellent from the beginning. David Silva. Every player is a foreign player, basically.
Yeah.
No, sure.
And they
No, but let's face
all
it.
are good players. Van Dijk.
No, but I
Alisson.
mean, but I mean, like if you look at it
There's
now, this
hardly
man is
anybody.
dominating. This man is dominating. He is the first name on your FPL starting sheet, right? And
Yeah.
most likely taking over the captaincy. Literally, this is his 6th game, right? He's already scored.
But
When I saw him
goals.
coming
let's hold
in,
it up over there,
he's
right?
gonna bang it up.
If you're a good player, I don't care about this nonsense. No, you have to adapt yourself to the Premier League and all. You're a good player. It's easy for you to adapt.
Should
I
be
don't care
able to.
what. Probably it will take you a game or two to adapt to the system, but if you're a good player, you will adapt very fast.
But Tag, a month ago you said he wouldn't adapt to the Premier League by now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, wait. I'm still going to say he's going to pop his kneecap one of these days. He's going to pop his kneecap and then he's going to go like a Zlatan. Down in the Premier League.
Anybody can pop a kneecap, man.
Yeah, no one. Not like our Chuta. You already popped a kneecap.
Yeah. So every player that comes in, you can say from the history of the Premier League. Nasri, how long it took him? I think he was making those dance from the first game.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I think you got a fair point, but I think some players do take time. But I mean, I'm talking about totally dominating. This man now has been 6 games old and he's undroppable, right?
He got 2 hat-tricks.
Yes, 2 hat-tricks. That's ridiculous.
What he's doing is crazy. His finishing, his movement is insane. I hope he just gets injured because that's the only way anybody has a chance against City.
I mean,
if he gets injured.
City. Yeah, but you even find this Alvarez, Lighty. Was it Alvarez? No, I pronounce it.
Yeah. Top
different player, but I think he'll get you goals, right? But
I like him a lot.
I mean, the thing is, it also comes down to if you think about it, right? Here we're talking about individuals. It's about Pep's system. I'd imagine if you put Andy Carroll in that role, I'm sure he'd get you some good goals as well. So I think it's a lot about
the great Andy Carroll.
Jeez. No, you get my point, right? What I'm trying to say is I think it's about the Pep system and it's a plug and play thing, which is great.
Where Andy Carroll came from, it took so long.
yeah. You check him just now, come up with a contract somewhere.
Yeah, that's it.
Speaking of which, Newcastle look flippant brilliant, eh?
Yeah, they do.
Right? I mean, not that I watched a lot of them last season, but you can see there's a hunger in the side, right? And they create more chances than they did previously, which is great. And I mean, Eddie Howe's a manager, right?
Oh
yeah, Eddie.
And I think it's good that they gave him a chance. Let's see how far he can take the side because they're a tough one to beat, lads. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, you look at them and you think, shit, this side here won't. And we found that out last year. That 2-0 victory, the 2-0 loss to Newcastle last year was we got played off the park, and I think that's where we lost that Champions League initiative as well. It was that brief run of games there. And you see that same form this year, just a little bit better, a little bit more incisive in their passing, creating more chances, a bit more quicker, just more hunger. I mean, ASM looks like a man.
I think what's great about Newcastle is if you're looking at that front line now, there's going to come a time where the front line is going to be St. Max plus Isaac plus Wilson.
Hey, I must say, Isaac is something else.
That sounds lethal.
The way he took the 2 finishes against us, but the one was a disallowed goal.
Yeah.
But it was actually power. It reminds you of basically like a Henry, if you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he finished off with power. He finished off clinical. I was actually shocked when I saw that too. The second one was offside, but I highly doubt it was offside. To me, it was kind of onside, but it was debatable. But that finish was something else.
No, it's very good finish. Very good finish. He's going to be a good player. Newcastle will be in the top 10, no doubt.
And he's young, so they can develop around him. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I think the only thing with Newcastle is you can see there is some depth issues, especially in that midfield. In the backline they can cover, but their drop off from Trippier is really, really steep. Let's say.
Yeah, sure. Good point.
And now they got Carriers.
It's not far of a drop, you know what I'm saying?
And now they got Carriers.
If you know free kicks, then I don't know what Trippier is doing.
And now they
Taking
got
sh-
Carries as their number
taking
2.
shots. Yeah, the spine
No,
is
the
good
number
though.
one because Nick Pope is
The
Yeah,
there.
for
spine,
sure.
Yeah,
Botman,
Joelinton plus Guimaraes.
so Botman, Bruno, and Isaac. That's the spine. It's good spine, and then Pope,
Mhm.
just parking
Mhm.
it. Pope there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Pope's a weird
Charles,
one for the future because I don't see him as a progressive keeper, but maybe they just wanted someone safe for now.
Yeah,
for now.
experienced. Yeah.
Maybe that's what Karius is for, the progressive sweeper keeper. Because he's good.
So
Karius is a top keeper before the final.
Before he had a breakdown mentally now.
Let's face it, he got us to the final. He was good enough to get there. He shat it in the final. That's
And
that's
that
horrible.
ended his life.
he'll never forget Kiev as long as he lives.
I think
So
he forgot where he was. The concussion.
shame. Yeah, that's awful. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
you never, but you never write off a man that needs to redeem himself. You never know. So lads, when are these oaks gonna spend some cash? I mean, that's gonna be the turning point, right? When they're settled and they say, like, cool, this is our man, this is our strategy, and then you're gonna find one fucking big name coming from somewhere. When do you think it's
I
gonna?
actually like
I'll
the
tell
way
you
they
when
did
they're
it
gonna.
now. They're going
Yeah,
piece by piece. They're
jigsaw.
adding
Yeah.
they're adding a good player here, a good player there. Now they got a good defender, they got a good midfielder, they got a good attacker. So you can see there's pieces coming all over the field, and
I'll tell you
gradually you're
that
going to see them.
just
It does.
now.
It does seem very measured. Yeah, you're right.
It's
Very
building. It's
measured.
building actually kind of too fast for my liking.
Yeah.
Too
Because they
far.
built the whole backline is almost done, and they got good
Yeah.
attacking players. It's quite
And
scary
this is the thing we
what they're
must
gonna do.
remember is that entire backline was changed in 2 transfer windows.
Yeah,
Sure.
the whole backline.
The whole
And
But
backline.
that's the scary part. That's why we don't we like
but
no more
guys,
That's
new
excellent
owners,
point.
please.
but
And
guys,
they got the
signed.
great Chris Wood as
Yeah.
well. So that's another
But
thing.
guys, they signed him on a long-term contract. All right, they signed Eddie Howe on a long-term contract. Yeah, and let's face it, if you ever know Saudi Arabians, the prince, if he owns half of the side, if they don't try and push him the next year Champions League football, guess who's waiting in the wings for it?
No, not this year. That's not their target this year.
No,
Yeah,
next year. Next year. I'm saying if he drops out next year or something like that, who's waiting in the wings for it?
Yeah, but that's a year and a half away.
Yeah.
What this job, Doug's?
This job was Rafa's job. Let's not bullshit each other.
We've gone full circle. We always come back to Rafa.
No. No, guys. It's an honest over there. Eddie Howe actually he saved his job by pulling them out of this of the Great Escape or whatever.
He
But
can't
this,
save his job if he was hired to do that.
yeah, but well, no one else wanted it. Even Conte didn't want it at that time because it was too dangerous to his reputation.
No, but he didn't save his job. He was hired to keep them up, and he kept them up.
Yeah,
Conte
but
just
I'm
didn't
saying
want to live in Newcastle.
next
He'd rather live
season
in
if he
London.
doesn't actually produce, because if he doesn't produce, then they're gonna look for somebody who's gonna actually get them through it.
Yeah, but he knows that. He knows that.
Yeah, but yeah, interesting times. I mean, they're going to be the powerhouse, right? And then one other question, and let's see what answer. Sorry, do you mind, Kantan? I'm just going to ask like a general question here.
Go for it.
So, the Premier League's become a sports washing machine, right?
Yep.
Then we can all agree that, but it also makes you money. I think City is a good blueprint for that. You could invest money, and then it starts generating you revenue once you're successful enough. I think listen, the TV money,
nice.
the TV money, the global appeal, all of that.
Hit their money. They're not investing no money. They're not making no money. Let's not kid ourselves over here.
No. So
Nonsense. How can City generate any money? It's crazy.
They're running losses. They're hiding their money between shirt
I
sponsors
still
and
have
this and that.
Yeah.
City fans.
Never days they're making money. City is always losing.
Right, coming back. Okay, coming back to my question, right? Who do you think should be bought? So if you had £1 billion or whatever the going rate for one of these fucking things are, I know Newcastle would have been my first pick as well, right? Because obviously the support and the history in that club. Who do you think is the next football club that should be bought? For me, I'd say Brentford.
West Ham.
I
West
don't
Ham?
see.
Yeah,
Yeah, West Ham.
I'm gonna say a very weird one because I usually pick on them, but I actually think Everton.
Everton. Yeah,
I'll tell you the
Mhm.
next one.
Everton's a good one,
I'll tell you the next one.
and West Ham also.
Aston Villa.
Aston
This
Villa
is
is not bad, but I tell you why I
this
say Everton.
And
Everton,
Spurs.
people forget this. Everton Stadium is under construction. They're gonna have a
Mm.
brand new stadium in a year or two. It's gonna be state of the art. So if you get a proper team in that stadium, the support is there already. It's an established brand. So that's an interesting prospect if you can get some money there.
Oh, sure. I think that's a good point. For me, Brentford, I think because the science is there, right, and the blueprint is there. I reckon if they had money, they'll buy the. They've already, did you read that article I sent? I think last year sometime, Woodley. It was about how they moneyball their way from the
Oh yeah,
bottom
yeah.
to where they are now, and I
no
think
guys. What about
I.
Leicester City? They got a beautiful. No, they got a top class. They rebuilt the training grounds. They got a top class training grounds. You saw that show where they were doing Leicester City's training ground and how
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
actually
I get that. I get
that.
that.
No, I think
I'll,
that's a good point.
I'll only take over Leicester if Rafa agrees to manage it. It's only a way.
No. I think
I think
Pochettino's next assignment to redeem himself.
I think the only detraction from a Leicester or Brentford is that their bases are low in terms of
Oh, and
fans.
all the Charos are in Leicester. What is wrong with you?
So I think you could grow that fan base, right? I think Man City
Eh,
is once again an example. Chelsea's one of them as well.
Yeah,
Chelsea were
maybe
fucking QPR.
Chelsea is the
Yeah.
better example actually. They
Or
got
sports washing, yeah, no, 100%. They've just done it longer, and that's why, right? I think Brentford. There's something about that club. I think if you can should get a bigger stadium, but I think that the blueprint
But
is
then,
there.
if you get a bigger stadium, you have to fill the stadium.
I think
That's
they
the
will.
only issue with
I
Brentford.
think they
yeah.
will. I think they will. I think they will. I think they
They
will.
barely fill the stadium.
Yeah, remember this is not in London. This is on the outskirts of London. It's a small
Yep.
place.
So
Guys, what
so
about Nottingham Forest?
West Ham,
I mean,
Tottenham. I think.
Forest would be legendary, right?
I think
Yeah,
West Ham is
It's
a
a
good
legendary
shout. West
place.
Ham is a
yeah.
very good shout. It's a London club. It's got a
History.
great history, big
I think the
stadium.
purchase price. I think the best value for money, dollar for dollar, pound for pound, rand for rand. What you're gonna say? Is probably Brentford, because you probably get away a lot cheaper than an established Everton, West Ham, Aston Villa, Leicester.
Yeah, but you said we had enough money.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. So,
If you're trying a good deal, then Brentford's a good deal.
And a billion
and
pounds, you get away with all the smaller clubs. £1 billion won't give you like the West Ham because they'll value it higher.
Yeah,
They'll
correct,
value it like 2-3 billion because
Yeah.
the money of it. Even Everton they'll value them about 2 billion.
Yeah, and you
Uh,
must factor in the ticket prices in London are really chaotic.
yeah. So yeah,
That
with £1 billion, if they have £1 billion,
the
you
highest
probably
tickets are
get
what it's Spurs
yeah,
and Arsenal.
yeah.
yeah,
You probably
Spurs and
get
Arsenal
with a
paying off
billion
the stadium.
pounds.
Yeah.
With £1 billion, you probably get Bradford. You probably pay 200 million for them, and then pump the money in for all your stars.
Yeah. So I think correct, because remember, right? I'll pump my money into a working model, right? Everton have fuck all working model at this
That's
point.
true.
There's fuck all. There's nothing. I have to reinvest. I have to strip everything down to bare bones and start doing things again.
First thing, get rid of
Whereas with
Frank
Brentford,
Lampard.
that's the first thing you got to do. And remember, right? When you back a manager, you buy all the players that suit his theory, his football theory, his style of play, all those things. Now you're gonna have to undo all of that, offload that fucking whatever dead weight, and then rebuild. Whereas with Brentford, you just look at it and you think, shit, you know what? They've moneyballed their way here this far. Imagine if they had a few more 100 baht to spend, who we'd get. And I mean, you put a wish list there. It's a working model. It's cheap. I think that is best value for
Don't you
money.
think Marquisio
For
will
value,
get
It's
for
value,
value
but
for
a
money is best.
it's not sustainable. I don't think because you
But
must remember
Nah, I think it is, mate.
when you get into the
Moneyball
Champions
is
League, and thing is you have to be able to justify your revenues, and they can't. I know City get
uh,
away with it because they sponsor their own
They are rogues.
They sponsor themselves.
They are rogues and just need to be caught, and
But
then I'll be
those
laughing.
What about
they will get
Qatar?
caught one day, hopefully.
Yeah.
But that's not how you.
How many City fans do you guys know? Like really?
Listen,
No, now you
so
know. Now there's a
Now
lot.
you know.
Now I know no
so
City fans here in Durban,
No, there's a lot now, especially
and
teenagers.
I still know
correct.
no City.
So
Teenagers support anybody. They support Mbappe. They support people. They don't support
no,
their club.
No, but that's the thing you forget is that for the last 10 years,
correct.
City has
People
been
are
the
watching.
dominant team.
Correct.
So,
So you
so
know a City fan.
anybody that's been let's say
12
influenced
years.
in the last 10 years,
But
The
do you know
the
one?
younger generation, the guys
The
who's
also,
now 12 years or 11 years
yeah.
are supporting City.
my best friend in Tonga, right? He's Lighty, so he's a Liverpool fan.
Our
Diehard
Tonga
Liverpool
doesn't count.
fan. He's Lighty. His Lighty is a Man City fan. So he said about us. I said, what are you talking about, us, Liam? No, Man City. He says Man City. So he knows his football. You can see he plays PlayStation. He understands FIFA. He knows a lot about football, but he loves Man City. Absolutely loves it.
Because
And
he's born in the generation where they're winning.
correct. No,
You
no,
know,
but
same
it's
like United. United, they got a huge fan base is
So-
because they were born in the generation and because that time
Ferguson.
Ferguson was turning trophy upon trophy, and that's their revenue, and they knew how to capitalize. Let's not face it. Let's not lie about this. United knew how to capitalize on the revenue, on the exposure, on the market rights, and everything when they were winning. They had a fucking good team, you can say, marketing team at that time who could actually tap into all these markets and get things done. Because
Yeah.
and also get things done.
So,
Ferguson,
so
Ferguson
what
built
you're
that
saying,
club.
what you're saying is that City spent
We had
15
Paisley at
years
the time. We
to
couldn't tap into the
15 years to
market.
build their club. 15 years to build their club, City, and they got one fan in Tonga. That's how they grew their club.
But how would you value that fan?
Yes.
Oh my word!
so,
So
so-
we
so
still
I mean-
know no City fans personally, except
Yeah,
for Chris and
no,
one guy in
personally.
Tonga.
190. No, I don't.
And
personally.
guys,
But remember, right? Remember, we're pushing 40 now, right? There's only so many more jerseys you can buy. That light you buy a jersey every year till he's
Yeah,
60.
just think about the age group between 10 and 25 to 30. That's a huge
Until Newcastle
demographic.
come up, then you go and support Newcastle.
Then they
Yeah,
will.
but
Then they'll.
that's exactly what's going to happen. That's
Yeah.
It's the same way with Chelsea. It's
And
the
they
same
roll.
way with
United. It's same like United. When they were
Yep.
winning, when Paisley was winning and Shankly was winning and Fagan was winning, oh, some of us weren't born. Like, you know what I'm saying? those are the old Balis where now will say, hey, fuck. You know, you're talking to a Liverpool supporter on old Bali. You'll say, yeah, I remember when we were playing, when Dalglish was the manager or whatever, and we were winning. And now they're happy just to see Klopp because they know what it is about winning and they know what it is about losing and getting fuck all at it. Say, I only remember, I only remember the 90s. I mean,
when we were shit.
when we were shit. Do you remember when we were like dominating the Paisley ways or everything else like that? Imagine we would have been so much different. And our marketing team at that time, we never have a marketing team because they were non-existent.
No,
Imagine
so
if
they
imagine
gave
if
us
we
the
had a
Spice
marketing.
Boys. Don't you remember the Spice Boys?
We
Yeah.
grew up with success. Or those people grew up with success. That's how you get fans with success in history.
But that's why you get entitled motherfuckers as well, right? Now,
Definitely.
if the
Yeah.
worst thing in your life is that your club isn't winning, you're gonna go fucking march in the street against the owners. What bullshit is that?
And then buy
The-
70
here's
million pound
So-
person.
So it's all about context. It's also no club has a God-given right to win anything. Nothing. Not even Real Madrid, not Barcelona, not Bayern Munich. And those clubs dominate, not even PSG for all their money. No club has that. The problem is that if you got so used to winning, and don't get me wrong, right? Ferguson's built a fucking good club, best club, and it just coincided that his era of dominance and the globalization of the game that created what is now the biggest or organically financed or the biggest club organically, if that makes sense, the biggest spending power. So yes, I think winning is excellent. I think they've optimized it to as long as they can. But I think some of the fans just need to take a seat back and say, right, listen, football is
They
cyclical.
don't know what it is to lose.
Need to wait. That's the
They never
problem.
felt losing in the last few. Let's put it in perspective. They didn't know what it is to lose. Like the old fans know what it is. When I'm talking old fans, like Carlton's uncle, Mix,
Yeah, sure.
he knew
Sure.
what it is to lose. But this new generation don't know what it is to lose. Now they see the club is so shit like Brad. When you see this club is so shit, he doesn't know what to do. They don't know what to do. Well, we have been there. We have saw the shit. We have saw Roy Hodgson fucking coaching and rubbing his face on the touchline. We know that. These guys don't know. The few fans don't know what it is to lose. They don't.
Okay, I'll tell you what we do, right?
Entitled.
Next week we need a United fan here, so we can tell him this exact.
They're
I think
entitled fucking things. And as you said, globalization. If we had that marketing and that time football was coming global and about money and all in the night when Paisley and first Fagan and Shank was there, we would have been just as big.
80s. The 80s, right? The 80s, right?
Yeah, 80s.
We had the 80s, and if you think about it,
And 70s.
the discussions for the Premier League started in the early 90s. We were one of the powerhouses at that time. So we failed. We
failed by wrong moves, not hiring the right people for the right position.
Sure.
Not evolving.
Because remember, at the start of the Premier League, United had not won the league for 26 years, 25 years, or whatever it was.
Yeah. So just to share a memory from my childhood, right? You guys won an FA Cup against Wimbledon in the 80s, 90s.
We lost.
Did you lose it?
Against Wimbledon, yep.
It was what's that hard guy's name he scored?
Vinny Jones.
Vinny Jones.
So when did you guys beat Wimbledon? Did you lose one and then win the next one?
No, we beat them in the league, not in the FA Cup.
In the FA Cup, it was the biggest shock because they were not expected to do anything.
Okay. All right. No. So I remember watching that game, by the way. I can't remember who won, and that's how much of an impact you guys had on me then. But yeah, that was the game. But I recall it differently because my dad was a Liverpool fan and someone had won. And I watched the game, and yeah, maybe my memory is a bit fuzzy, but yeah, that was one of my first football games.
Yeah, back then the FA Cup final was a big thing. It was a huge thing.
So
it's still a huge thing until Arsenal win it. When Arsenal win it, then it's a shit trophy and
it's only tops when you win it. Other than that, it's fine.
No. It's a
when you reach the semi-final.
Like Champions League when United wins it. When United wins 100%. It's like Champions League. It's the best trophy.
It's the oldest club trophy, and I don't know. We get it.
It's third in line.
Let's wrap it up here then. So, it is third in line, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Champions League tonight.
Yep.
Let's get in.
What's your predictions on today, Pri?
Liverpool's gonna win 3-1.
Ooh. Against the mighty Ajax.
Is this Ajax away?
Ajax and Anfield.
That's why I'm a little bit more confident.
Okay. No, sure. Those European nights. Yeah, sure. Can easily see that. I'm actually going to look at the Barca Bayern game, right?
What a game! If I wasn't a Liverpool fan, I would be watching that. That would be the return of Lewandowski. Ooh.
Yeah, it's dude. So
He's killing it.
He is killing it. Oh my word! What a legend. I think people will only recognize what a legend he is when he retires. He is brilliant.
His surname is not Latin, so that's why he doesn't get
correct.
Yeah,
dude,
100%.
So
he actually should have won 2 Ballon d'Ors and he got nothing.
Mate, if I tell you, right, there was not this. So there was just a season. There was one season where Mane was unplayable, and he was the best player on the planet at that time. It wasn't last year; it was the year before that, or the year. I think it was the year you won, or it was the year before that. It was
the first half of the season
at Liverpool.
Won. Yep.
And he's picked off exactly where he's picked up exactly where he's dropped off. Right? I mean, for Bayern, he's still a fucking amazing player. A good player is a good player. A consummate professional. And you're right. If he was not African, if he was either South American or European, he'd definitely be in the mix for the Ballon d'Or. And for my money, though, people that come from, I'd say Africa or even South America, they have to overcome so many more obstacles to get there. The pinnacle of being the best player in the world. Ronaldo is Europe. I think there's just a little bit more structure in there, and you have access to more things. Messi was plucked from football heritage, right? In Argentina, so he had a good schooling in it. But both were very, very poor. But I imagine for someone to come from Africa and make it there, there's just so much more obstacles to overcome, and he appreciates every minute of it. Love a footballer like that. Love it, love it, love it. And more than that, his heart's in the right place, right? You see some of the charity work he's done. So yeah, I'd like Barca to win. I'd also like Mane to have a stellar game today.
Yeah, all good. It's all good with Sadio. We love him.
Yeah, some good football. Liverpool's last game for the next 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get some momentum like how Klopp reckoned. What rhythm did you see?
Yeah, we
was
can't lose like we
hilarious,
never
man.
had.
And that was
That
the
was
top
hilarious.
one. The way you said it, for the past 6 games, there was no rhythm. What rhythm did you see?
Yeah, it's actually quite brilliant. It was quite funny. Enjoyed it.
And the way he did it, and he laughed.
Yeah.
Clearly, you're not watching our games.
Joseph.
All right.
You always judge someone as how they can laugh at themselves, right? The extent to which they can laugh at themselves. I think that's always a good trait.
Yeah. Like
Thanks.
Lampard. Lampard always laughs at himself. He's crazy, that guy. All right, sharp guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Great.
Thanks so much
Great,
for the invite. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.
Yep.
Next week.
Yeah.
Same time, same place. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and look out for our upcoming FPL videos as well. Interesting times, interesting weekend ahead, so stay tuned.